All right, at number 7, we've got a coach who at any time in the last 12 or 13 years would have been ranked much higher at any level in any conference. That's Jim Harbaugh. I do think that the criticisms of Harbaugh and the perception of what's going on in Michigan and the lack of meeting expectations is overblown. Okay, he's not meeting expectations. What are expectations? To me, at Michigan, contend for Big Ten championships, win a Big Ten championship a good percentage of the time, meaning you should win 3 or 4 in 10 years. Okay, he's won 0, of course. He can't get past Ohio State. And if you compare his record, what he's done his first 6 seasons versus Lloyd Carr, the previous coach, meaning we skip Brady Hoke and Rich Rod because they were disasters, and let's give Harbaugh some credit. His first 2 years were near masterful. 2015, he takes a 5-7 club. They go 10-3, finish in the top 10. Then the next year, they come this close to going to the Big Ten championship game. A different measurement may have completely changed this narrative and changed reality past that point. But that's what happened. First 2 years, Jim Harbaugh was right on track and building a great program. Something happened in there, and the inability to develop a quarterback has been at the heart of his misgivings here. So, but let's understand that every team has gone 10-3, 10-3, 8-5, 10-3, 9-4. He's finished in the top 15 generally in the country constantly. Okay, 2-4, pandemic year, only 6 games. Right now, it's more about the look. The look doesn't look good. It looks like it's coming off the rails. But, hey, they just brought in a top 10 recruiting class. Jim Harbaugh at number 7. He, of course, has to win big. Jim Harbaugh. Let's set the record straight. This guy's been an exceptional head coach at all the other stops in his career, both in the NFL and in college. I'm not going to go into the details here. I have ad nauseum in other videos and live streams. It is not hard to defend Jim Harbaugh's legacy at other schools and in the NFL with the San Francisco 49ers with the 4th best winning percentage in the history of the NFL. Okay, he comes to Michigan, and it, much like another coach we're going to talk about soon, it looked like the perfect situation. A favored son who excelled as a player, who was just considered a Michigan man, a man of that school, of that legacy, who had succeeded so well at other stops. So, of course, he's going to take all the resources, the tradition, the brand, the image at Michigan and win big. And through 2015 and 16, it looked like Jim Harbaugh was on the right track. Look at what he brought Michigan football in those first 2 seasons after the mediocre play, at best, to be kind, under Rich Rodriguez and Brady Hoke. Hoke was better than Rich Rod, but they were pretty much a 500 tandem over that course of years from 2008 through 14. But Jim Harbaugh steps in, and they immediately go into the top 10 in the nation for 2 consecutive years. Came within that close of beating Ohio State, of course, in 2016. That was a fork in the road, of course. They would have gone to the college football playoff most likely with a different measurement against Ohio State. The 2017 season was a disappointment at 8-5 and blown leads all over the place, including in the bowl game against South Carolina, up by 16 points. Okay. That 2018 season, another turning point because Michigan football was dominant, and in comparison to Ohio State leading into the game, they were the best team. They were the better team than Ohio State clearly over the course of the season, but they got blasted head-to-head. All right, he's 0 for everything against Ohio State. 5 consecutive losses to the Buckeyes, the last 2 in embarrassing fashion. I think it's getting overblown how far the Michigan program has fallen. The only results that we have to show that the Michigan program has fallen off that much are the 6 games from last season. This was a team that went 9-3 2 years ago, that played relatively well and took Alabama into the 4th quarter in the bowl game. They were still a top 15 team 2 years ago. Okay, Yes, the signs were not good last year, 2-4, but that's a half a season. So it's difficult to evaluate. We know that they wouldn't have done any better than 8-4. So it was not a good look. It was not a good season. And there are indications that they're going off the rails. Now, he's taken some risks involving the coaching staff. We will see if they pay off. Michigan is still recruiting at a high level. And Michigan fans, the Michigan Nation, maybe if they don't get one of the top coaches in the country, i.e. Matt Campbell, maybe just as frustrated, if not more, 5 years from now if they let Jim Harbaugh go. But it's just not a good vibe, a good look. It's just reeks of disappointment and failure right now for Jim Harbaugh. He's got to have an outstanding record this season in 2021, or he needs to win key games. So, for example, if they go 8-3 going into the Ohio State game, but he pulls off a miraculous win over the Buckeyes, and the Buckeyes are the best team in the Big Ten and still go on to the Big Ten championship, that might save his job. So it's not just a win total, it's within context. He could go 9-3 and get completely obliterated by Ohio State, Penn State, and Wisconsin and lose his job because they're just showing that they're not competitive. The last several games against Wisconsin, Michigan has been embarrassed. 49-11 at home last year. That is coming off a 35-14 game that wasn't that close the year before against Wisconsin. So he's got to beat the teams that are better in the Big Ten that he was beating a few years ago when they were off to a good start in 2015 and 16. Now he's losing to Wisconsin and Penn State. He lost at home to Penn State this past year, and of course they lost the year before in Happy Valley. So he's starting to rack up losses against not just Ohio State, but the better teams in the Big Ten. Jim Harbaugh, within context, either go 9-3 with breakthrough wins, or you've got to just win big, 10-1, 10-2, 11-1, or you're gone, your history. That would be my call right there. The standard is high at Michigan, and it should be. Jim Harbaugh, of course, not delivering to that degree. Good football coach. Or maybe he was a good football coach. We will see.